At 4:32 a.m., the first strike teams moved on a cluster of businesses just off the Las Vegas Strip. The city was still glowing. Neon bled across wet pavement from overnight wash trucks. Slot jingles leaked faintly through service corridors. The air smelled like hot wiring, stale smoke, engine heat, and spilled liquor. Out on the boulevard, the illusion of endless fun still flickered, but behind a row of shuttered souvenir stores and VIP lounges, black SUVs rolled into loading alleys with headlights dimmed. Doors opened. Radios clicked once. Then the federal line surged forward. FBI tactical units took the rear service entrances. DEA agents moved on a warehouse disguised as a beverage storage site. ICE officers sealed the alley exits and employee parking structures. SWAT teams stacked at a backdoor corridor connecting a gaming lounge. A luxury travel office, and a cash for gold storefront that, in truth, served as one of the network's laundering hubs. DHS task force personnel locked down adjacent stairwells while surveillance teams watched rooftop movement through thermal optics. Then the first breach hit. A steel security door folded under a ram. Flashbangs cracked down a narrow hallway lined with velvet wallpaper and mirrored paneling. Smoke rolled low. Men in black poured through like a wave. One suspect tried to dash through a cashier cage carrying a duffel bag packed with vacuum-sealed currency. Another bolted across a private baccarat room and smashed into a service cart as agents drove him to the carpet. At the rear loading dock, two armed runners attempted to drag hard-sided cases toward a refrigerated delivery van. But SWAT teams cut them off before the engine turned over. Inside the first business front, agents found more than hidden cash. Behind a false wall in a liquor inventory room sat compressed bricks of cocaine wrapped in carbon paper and tape. In the basement beneath a members-only gaming salon, heroin was vacuum-sealed inside chip shipping cartons. A neighboring storefront that claimed to sell imported electronics concealed a pill packaging setup with fentanyl pills sorted into heat-sealed bags marked as novelty merchandise. In a warehouse listed as event supply storage, methamphetamine was hidden inside lighting cases and stage risers ready for regional movement. The raids kept widening. At 4:46 a.m., teams struck an off-strip casino annex in Paradise, a truck access warehouse near North Las Vegas. Two bars functioning as cartel-run cash funnels, a massage front used for extortion and trafficking control, and an underground gambling room built behind a shuttered arcade. In one location, a bookkeeper tried to torch ledgers in a sink while alarms shrieked above him. In another, a suspected cartel courier scrambled up a kitchen ladder with a hard drive taped to his chest, before being pulled back down into a rain of broken drywall. By 5:19 a.m., the seizures had become impossible to dismiss as isolated criminal pockets. Cocaine, heroin, methamphetamine, fentanyl powder, more than 1 million fentanyl pills tied through packaging records and storage counts, counterfeit casino chips used to move illicit funds. Cash counted in stacks so high that currency wrappers littered the floor like confetti after a rigged celebration. Handguns under bar counters, short rifles inside office safes, burner phones in vending machine compartments, security DVRs, employee access cards, ledger books coded by table number, suite number, courier lane, and payout percentage. Then came the twist that changed the case. Inside a sealed maintenance room hidden beyond a private roulette salon, federal agents found a compact server rack running off a redundant battery system, 3 encrypted laptops, and 2 steel document cases containing internal operating charts, offshore remittance instructions, payout sheets for compromised facilitators, and access logs showing unusual coordination between casino-adjacent business fronts, security contractors, and route managers far beyond the Strip. This was not merely cartel money moving through Vice. This was a protected infrastructure. At 8:41 a.m., inside a federal cyber forensics lab brought online under emergency protocol in Las Vegas, analysts began to peel the system open. The room was cold enough to make people forget the desert outside. Monitors cast blue light across tired faces and half-finished coffee. One team worked decryption on seized drives. Another rebuilt deleted payment records. Financial specialists tracked transfers through shell corporations tied to entertainment consulting, gaming services, beverage distribution, nightclub staffing, valet management, digital marketing, and luxury hospitality procurement. Every legitimate-looking service seemed to conceal another tunnel of money underneath it. Then the architecture appeared. At the center of the recovered data was a code name repeated across spreadsheets, payout ledgers, route maps. Encrypted chats and staffing authorizations. Project Velvet Divide. That name connected everything. The underground gaming rooms, the bars, the slot route subcontractors, the cash-heavy gift stores, the travel desk, the event supply warehouse, The security consulting firms, the sham charities that claim to support addiction recovery while washing cartel cash into real estate deposits and vendor accounts. Ghost corporations in Nevada linked to offshore accounts in the Caribbean. Consultancy retainers routed through hospitality vendors in California. Entertainment booking fees wired east, then split across shell accounts before resurfacing as payroll, rent, security contracts, and chip inventory purchases. It was not random laundering, it was engineered circulation, and in the middle of Project Velvet Divide. Analysts found the digital signature of the fictional mastermind, Darius Vell, publicly known as a casino operations coordinator and nightlife optimization specialist, privately functioning as the architect of a cartel-enabled laundering and logistics network across Nevada casino corridors. Vell did not move cocaine by hand. He did not stand in loading bays passing heroin through beverage crates. He did not press fentanyl pills in basement rooms. He did something far more dangerous. He synchronized legal cash flow with criminal supply movement until the two became almost impossible to separate. His encrypted authorization key appeared in staffing changes, VIP room closures, inventory reroutes, late-night cash transfer approvals, security camera blackout windows, and service corridor access, changes that consistently aligned with cartel movement patterns. Investigators in this fictional story linked him directly to a Mexican cartel logistics branch, using Las Vegas and adjacent Nevada casino corridors as a secure laundering fortress and inland distribution node. This was not corruption, it was command-level collusion. This was not negligence. It was engineered treason built under chandeliers, hidden behind velvet ropes, and protected by the false glamour of money that seemed too fast to question. And the next phase, agents warned, would be worse, because once they saw the network on screen, they understood the strip was only the showroom. The real system extended far beyond the lights. At 5:24 a.m. the following day, in a command center outside Las Vegas, a giant digital map lit up with red markers pulsing across Nevada. Las Vegas, Paradise, North Las Vegas, Henderson, Reno support contacts, distribution points near highway freight lanes, security contractor offices, storage yards, strip-adjacent retail units, club supply depots, small casinos in outer corridors, even residential safe apartments hidden inside luxury towers. Every red pulse represented a site, person, account, or business tied to Project Velvet Divide and to Darius Vell's protected cartel infrastructure. The room fell silent for a moment. Then the mission order came down. More than 900 federal agents and task force officers were assigned to the expanded fictional eradication operation. FBI, DEA, ICE, DHS, U.S. Marshals support elements, vetted SWAT teams, tactical aviation support overhead for surveillance and route control, armored rescue vehicles staged near high-risk locations. This was a state-level blow designed to shatter the illusion that a cartel could hide forever behind gaming revenue, entertainment traffic, and vice. The raids came fast and hard. In Henderson, agents breached a luxury lounge that doubled as a cartel money exchange point and found cocaine hidden in premium liquor crates and fentanyl pills packed inside imported candy packaging. In North Las Vegas, a warehouse registered to an event staging company turned out to be a methamphetamine redistribution site, complete with false pallet walls, hidden cameras, and an encrypted dispatch console. Near the Arts District, a restaurant chain office used for payroll processing concealed a cash room, duplicate vendor identities, and laundering ledgers tied to weekly heroin and cocaine payments. Outside the main casino corridor, a so-called talent agency operating above a nightclub was exposed as a human trafficking coordination site, where vulnerable workers were trapped through debt, threats, forged immigration paperwork, and movement control. At a suburban mansion in Summerlin held through layered LLC ownership, SWAT teams arrested a cartel finance manager, 2 armed enforcers, and a records broker while seizing hard drives, luxury watches, foreign cash, and a hidden floor safe containing payout lists for corrupt insiders. In an industrial yard south of the city, federal agents intercepted a box truck loaded with methamphetamine and fentanyl pills concealed inside casino linen carts. In another operation, a shuttered arcade hid a compact underground gaming room where illicit wagers were layered with narcotics debt collection and extortion. The seizures expanded across the day. More cocaine, more heroin, more meth, fentanyl pills by the hundreds of thousands, rifles, pistols, body armor, cash wrapped in casino bank straps, counterfeit identification kits, access card duplicators, surveillance servers, offshore remittance files, route schedules linking Las Vegas to Southern California, Arizona, Utah, and trucking relays farther east. Cartel members were captured alongside accountants, security supervisors, club managers, launderers, couriers, and false front operators, who had spent years pretending their businesses were just another part of Nevada nightlife. In 6 hours, which the underworld behind that network took more damage than it had in the previous 6 years. But then the most corrosive part of the case surfaced. Investigators dove into the seized servers, access logs, surveillance records, payment ledgers, internal emails, scheduling changes, and vendor files. What emerged was not only a cartel logistics map, it was evidence of deep compromise inside the systems meant to monitor it. Select compliance checks had been delayed. Certain cash reporting anomalies were buried under administrative review. Security footage from critical corridors vanished during specific transfer windows. Patrol patterns in service zones shifted on nights connected to major narcotics movement. Internal warnings from honest staff were redirected, minimized, or quietly closed. Some people had been bought. Others had been pressured. A few had been blackmailed. In this fictional investigation, analysts identified a widening ring of compromised insiders, private security coordinators, financial compliance contractors, records technicians, 2 law enforcement leak points, a senior enforcement liaison attached to a gaming corridor task unit, and multiple civilian facilitators inside licensing and inspection channels. Payment varied by value: cash, debt relief, gambling credit, vacation packages, renovation contracts, consulting fees, donations to sham family charities. Every method chosen to make corruption feel less like a bribe and more like an opportunity. For honest officers and employees, this was the deepest cut. One fictional federal investigator reportedly recognized a trusted name inside a message chain, coordinating security camera blind spots during cocaine transfers. A compliance analyst discovered that anomalies she'd flagged months earlier were intentionally buried by a superior on cartel payroll. A patrol officer learned that a man he once considered a mentor had leaked route pressure points to business front coordinators in exchange for cash and protection from old gambling debts. Betrayal spread through the file system like poison. Arrests followed inside the system itself. A senior sergeant attached to corridor enforcement, a deputy compliance planner, a licensing records employee, a private security executive with access to service tunnel schedules, an inspection contractor who downgraded suspicious sites in exchange for monthly payments. None of them wore cartel insignia. That was the terror of it. The cartel had not built an obvious occupying force. It had built a second secret police force of permissions, delays, selective blindness, and redirected attention. A parallel enforcement system protecting Darius Vell's network from the inside. The system, investigators said in this fictional account, would have to be rebuilt from the ground up. Then analysts widened the frame. Las Vegas was not the end of the route. It was the central theater. Beneath the glamour sat a continental corridor. Data showed connections to Southern California port-linked suppliers, Arizona staging points, Utah transport relays, New Mexico cash movement, and farther freight partnerships moving through trucking contractors and shell logistics vendors. Altered manifests disguised bulk liquor and event equipment shipments carrying narcotics. Small businesses near casinos served as transfer buffers before products moved interstate. Human trafficking and migrant smuggling appeared not as side stories but as adjacent profit streams, feeding labor pools for clubs, backroom operations, cleaning crews, and coercive debt systems. Analysts in this fictional case estimated the network had the capacity to move major quantities of narcotics every week without triggering immediate systemic alarms. Tons of drugs over time, hidden not in one spectacular fortress but in the churn of entertainment commerce. Shipping labels changed. Cash counted clean. Way stations faced maintenance disruptions on certain contractor routes. Vendor invoices shifted to cover losses that were not losses. By the time one discrepancy surfaced, 3 others had buried it. And in the final encrypted archive tied to Darius Vell, investigators found the most chilling document of all. It was a growth blueprint. The file outlined a long-term plan to expand Nevada from a laundering corridor into a permanent cartel hospitality hub, protected through shell companies, civic influence, licensing manipulation, compromised enforcement contacts, and strategic acquisition of adjacent businesses around major gaming zones. The objective was not just to survive enforcement pressure. It was to redesign the ecosystem so that cartel cash, narcotics movement, and political protection would become inseparable from the regional economy. That was the moment the room understood the scale of the threat. The system had not just been infiltrated, it had been redesigned for the cartel future, and that is the warning buried inside this fictional story. Power does not always arrive with open war. Sometimes it comes dressed in polished shoes, clean ledgers, security credentials, and a smile under casino light. Sometimes it does not need visible violence. Sometimes it only needs silence, appetite, and enough people willing to rent out one small piece of the public trust. The real cost of that silence is not measured only in seized cash or shuttered gaming rooms. It is measured in lives broken by fentanyl. in heroin addiction, in methamphetamine-fueled collapse, in cocaine money ripping through neighborhoods far from the neon, in families destroyed by narcotics that moved through velvet halls, loading alleys and business fronts that looked harmless to tourists and ordinary workers trying to survive. It is measured in the corrosion of institutions, where enough small betrayals eventually become a full criminal operating system.